Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about the elders, what they needed to do with their lockdown early in 2020. Early in 2020 they heard that in Victorson County, Texas, they heard that the Outlaws, the town that was originally named The Outlaws generations past, they kept it because they felt it was historical. And they heard, that they announced on the radio station and on Victorson County's social media platform called Virtual County. They announced that there was going to be these rolling lockdowns early 2020 because of what was going on, and it was going to be a way of doing it to help in many situations that were going on. They didn't disclose the situation. They just said it was because of the health issues, and that this was to protect the county, the members of the county population. And what they heard was that those living in the town called the Outlaws, some of them, a certain little, they call it a sect, S-E-C-T. It was not religious. It wasn't political. It was just a group of really bad people, and they didn't want that. Okay. And they balked. They have their own social media platform, and they got on it and just blasted the whole thought of lockdown. They refused to do it, and so on and so forth. Well, their Mayor Smith, he heard about that, and so did the big distribution companies, the owners and operators, distribution, manufacturing. They heard. And that's what's their main purpose and their main way of getting money in the county. They would get stuff from the outside of the county and distribute it throughout the county, except for one place, Technology, Texas. That was built for tech. They got high-tech items there. Well, when they heard that these business owners, and the Outlaws and all that, the mayor, they heard this. They said, "Oh no, this is going to be a lot of trouble." Okay, for them, they were going to lose business. So they were basically, the Mayor Smith, and they got together and they said, "Well, what are we going to do?" Because when people, it was just those people, just certain that sect, what they call the sect. What were they going to do? They were going to cause so much trouble. They were going to lose business, and so on and so forth. Well, the elders of the county, they basically run the county, and they heard about it too, and they said no, that they were going to change up things. Their whole purpose is to try to protect the members of the county, like I said, the population. And so they got in touch with the other elders, all the elders, even the elders of the Outlaws. And they had a meeting and talked about it. And the result was that the technology, they were going to switch some of their operations from high technology, like computers and such. They're going to switch from that to mainly some of the other things that were distributed from the Outlaws, the town they call the Outlaws. And immediately they started working on this, and they were already building new businesses because it became so popular, so much popular over the years, that they could do that. They could switch what they were building and make them to where they had the type of items that were needed, that were purchased, throughout the county through the Outlaws. Instead, they were going to do it themselves. Well, the mayors, of course, heard about it when their elders came back, and they said, we've got to do something. We have to do something. Okay, and really before they could get busy, really busy and switching, deciding what they're going to do, many parts of the county heard about it, and they started making their orders, taking away their orders from what they usually would get from the town called the Outlaws, theirs businesses, and they would switch to ordering ahead of time so that the businesses in Technology, Texas, they could figure out what they would need, what was most often bought, and get busy with it. Okay. Well, that was causing a lot of problems because the people in the Outlaws, they quickly learned how that was taking businesses away, money, finances, jobs away. Lots of jobs were being lost. So they, that sect, they said, okay, we have to give in. We do. But there were, in the process then, this happened fairly quickly. In the process, they decided that maybe they would switch to something else because they had heard, they kind of like hear through the grapevine, that the elders of the county were going to start building, making a lot of new homes, and they were going to basically build houses on the right close to the outskirts of the county. They're already kind of isolated. They were going to build a lot of homes, townhomes, apartments on the whole county. It's like more of a circle. And so they jumped on it, and they made a deal with the elders, the mayor and the business owners. They all got together with the elders of the county, and they made them a deal. They said they would actually sign a contract stating that they would, comply to any health mandates that the elders put up if they could become the distribution town, the Outlaws, that for things like building supplies, lumber, anything needed. Okay. So of course, the elders and all, they took their time took some time thinking it over and everything. And they said they would make, they had their own lawyers, and they would make contracts, and they would also have inspections, random inspections. Nobody knew when, just whenever, to ensure that the people in the town, people in the businesses, manufacturing, all of that, they were wearing masks. And they, whatever mandates they put up, when it came time, that they would have vaccinations, they would do that. Now, if they didn't want to do that, that's a different story. Everybody's free to do what they want to do, but they would lose financially. And they agreed to it because they were afraid. These people were really afraid. The mayor and the people who own the businesses and other people that were losing their jobs, they were really afraid. And they didn't want to, some of them, but it goes on from there. Okay. And so they did need, they basically did need one another, okay, because they did need a site for distribution for all these lumbers, and it wasn't too far off for them to switch because they did have huge trucks, and they had already been distributing things like lumber. But they would allow them to keep a little bit of the regular distribution, a little of other than lumber, but they would have to comply. They would have to sign contracts, and that was how it was going to work. Okay, like I said, the sect, some of them, they still balked. But they knew they can't lose their jobs and such. Okay, and as I said, the elders really, these are good, decent people. Most of the county they're all good, decent people. Most. Nothing's perfect. Nobody's perfect. The Outlaws, they tended to be, they're not all bad, but they tended to be bad. Okay, that down. It was just part of their culture and all of it. And so the purpose, like I said, of the elders was to keep all of the members of the county, all of them, even those that live in the Outlaws, safe. And so all of the townships, they must comply. All of them. They can't have, one part of the county where people just running free. I mean, well, that is a way to put it. Just not wearing masks, and then they infect the other ones, and they're having to do all this of rolling lockdowns, and it's a lot of work. They had to have a lot of people come in to work with Adam, and that the people who, that's what their job is, to figure out how do they plan all this. They're kind of like city planners in a way, but not totally. Okay, so there's a lot involved, because their whole goal is to keep people safe. But okay, when you have something that's people are doing something for the good, and some people don't want it, they are conspiracy theorists. They want it. They want to say, no, this is what they're really doing. They're really doing this, and they're really trying to control us, and so forth. And some people they do believe that way. And some have good reason. Maybe they've experienced something in the past that just wasn't what it was on the surface. But this is truly what is their goal. Okay, they have a lot of people. They have a lot of towns. They're not cities, but they're towns. The biggest one is Needles, Texas. It's right in the middle, and it's closer to called a city, but a small one. But still, they have a lot of people, and stretched out this big county. So also to help out the elders of the county, they gave financial assistance to both Technology, Texas, and the Outlaws, Texas. Okay, they gave them financial assistance, for things to do all this converting over, and the elders learned that just depending on one county, one town in the county, it was never really a good idea. The rest of it, the things that the people usually did was to buy from one another, from different towns, and what people actually made themselves. Whatever they could buy, whatever, they needed, they could buy. Think of how many groceries you can buy. Because it's surrounded by ranches and farms. It's things that they can buy from one another, and people make things, have their own businesses. That was part of their culture and has been generations past. And but still, they were relying mainly on those two towns for what they needed. So they started, to say, times are changing, let's do this. Okay, and with what was going on starting back early in 2020, they learned. Okay, and so they also opened up more in another town, and it has a rich history too, and it's called Hippie Town, and it was originally called Hippie Town. Some of them wanted to change it, but no, it kind of stuck, and so they made all these changes and started making more and more as time went by, and saw the need, and but like I said, they have their conspiracy theorists who are there mainly in the town called The Outlaws, mainly there, that they're doing it for some kind of nefarious reason or something. But they try, they have to work on this mayor and all that is trying hard to keep it, down. Okay. So because they're letting them know, they're cluing them in. So yeah. And as for the conspiracy theorists, one of the big, it's more than one parts of this sect in the town called Outlaws. It's these are the people who actually made their own social media website, social media platform there in that the town called the Outlaws, was people who they were outcast from the rest of the county because of what they've done and what they're doing to try to they want to run the whole. They want to take over everything as much as they can, and they don't want this. They don't want that because the businesses had to sign these contracts and those kinds of inspections, random, and not only that, but there also will be more police enforcement there, because what they're doing is they're distributing for the rest of the county. Okay, nobody needs items that are being distributed by people or all the whole thing that aren't complying to mandates and such. And but they don't like this, that there's going to be more police enforcement. There are going to be these random inspections because something is going on. Many things, several things, I would say, going on that they don't want them to find out about. And with them being more of them there, they're going to find out eventually, perhaps. So, They don't like it. They don't want people, these types, concentrating on them. But things are going to change, and they have to change. Life has changed because of it. Okay, that's enough for this one for now. Stay tuned. Talk to you on another video.